Yesterday, this is the Time Was poem, part 2. Time Was and Other Poems, available on Amazon.com, Frederick Smith. I will try to add the link under the video when I'm done on this channel. Anyway, this is part 2 of Time Was. Is it time, she asked, and slowly broke the wall of endless time that hung about his shoulders like the years of time that swam about the universe, remembering time when time was time, and only time could tell that time was nearly over and that time was nearly over all, but when the time would come for time to see, it was. Now, time was when it slipped away, beyond the depth of time surrounding time and leaving only time to see its passing that could not be seen for only time, and time alone might pass beyond the edge of time. And even time was lost when time was found, by taking time to find time, to take time to find time, and losing time and time to searching time beyond the time of time allotted to the time, when time must flow beyond the time of borders of infinity, and time must come again. But only time is never time again, but that in which time comes. We've time, she said, but did not hear the time that passed away as lost in time and never time to be time, but to have been time, to remember time when time was real, was never really time, but time's illusion gives us time that cannot be time at all, because time will never tell that time is time. Will never tell that time is passing into time beyond the next dimension. Time cannot know what it has, no time to see, no time to touch, no time to realize that time is not time, but that which time remembers in the time it has, for time is not be without time, and time could not be time, but that which has no time beyond the time allotted. Perhaps it's time, he shuddered, looking up to taste the proffered nipple as she stood beside him, but the time had passed, and time had come between them, and time was never right for them to share the time in time of day when time was to share was all that time could offer, but would never yield to passing time with timely comments over time, when time was time, and nothing knew that time was time but time, and even time knew not until the time was set in motion according to the time that shattered into moments, trickling into minutes, pouring into hours, rushing into days, exploding into years, that could not understand that time was passing, even though the seasons were not timely in their comings and their goings, back and forth in time, but only time knew time for time, and only time knew time for time, and time again knew only time, and did not have the time to pass beyond the flow of time to learn about the time that time had left been gathered up in time, and only time was lost and found or borrowed. Time would never know that time and time will be the time, to know that time was that never was, and was before time was lost in time, and lost in search of time, never really time at all, he said, before the time had come to write the words that the time had etched within the eyes that were not eyes at all, but mere kaleidoscopic lenses, reflecting time in shadows without substance, that in time would be no time but time that was the time to see the time moving in the unison of chaos on the blue horizon of the time we spent in knowing that the time will never come, that time will come as time moves on to time, not only time that will tell time that never tell time beyond the time that was not time enough to tell the time, and only time will tell us that the time is coming, with time to know the future, to share is the time, to know the time that hung about his shoulders like a years of time that swam about the universe, remembering time when time was only moments, trickling into minutes, pouring into hours, rushing into days, exploding into years, that time had not remembered in the time when time was never time at all, and never would be time for time to pass or rush or die or score the extra point in time to catch something, for time was only time, and only time knew time, and did not know the time, that time would never pass again if time had truly come in time to be in time at all. Part 3 tomorrow.